Our first topic came from a Reddit post where a guy asks, "Is Mortal Kombat considered a balanced fighting game?" He goes on to say that usually when people talk about things being balanced and all that other stuff, they always bring up games like Street Fighter, Tekken, and things like that. But he really rarely ever hears conversation about like balancing and MK and stuff. So and he was wondering, is it because MK is mostly like a balanced game, so they don't really have to talk about it too much? So, starting with you, Mr. Game and Lift, we know you have some, history with the MK scene with all the combos and stuff you make for it. So, how do you feel about this? Do you feel like the game is more so one of the most balanced games that we have in the FGC?
It's kind of an interesting question to answer because I don't know, like, does he mean like overall? Because overall, that would be kind of hard because the only ones I really have the most experience with are MK11 and MKX. Well, and MK9. I forgot about MK9. I played like the older games. I've looked back at like competitive footage on the older games, and some of the characters were quite cheap. There were certain characters that could just run away with even in the older game. MK3, I know like Ermac was really good. Rain was really good. Smoke, like Reptile, and most of the time, like in tournament, those are the characters that you saw. Um, Now, when it comes to the games that I was familiar with, MK9, I felt MK9's balance was okay because I mean, in that game, you had some characters that just ran that game. You had Smoke, Kung Lao, my gosh, Kung Lao, Smoke. Um, Later on, Kenshi, Cabal. When people actually figured out Cabal, because at first Cabal was considered not that great, and then at the end of the game, it was like, yeah, I can literally kill you for just blocking the whole match. I don't even have to hit you. I just make you block and kill you. Um, who else? Cyrax. It was a lot of characters in that game that had a lot of dumb stuff. And some characters were kind of they struggled. Like you had characters like Jax, which was solid, but it took a little more. It took a little more work. Sub Zero was subpar. Cyber Sub Zero was not that great in the game. Um, Looking at MKX was a bit of the same. A lot of Kung Lao again running the game. You had Tanya. A lot of characters in that game were just like doing a lot of crazy stuff. Aaron Black. And now I look at MK11. I feel like MK11 to me was more balanced earlier on. I feel, and even now I think it's more balanced than I feel like maybe previous games. But it still got its issues. Like you got Cetrion, is still a problem. If I'm not mistaken, Johnny Cage, I think at one point wasn't that great, but then he got a few buffs and he's like a problem. Cassie Cage, don't even get me started on Cassie Cage. It's just like she just can't be a bad character. She was great in MKX and she's come back in 11 just as good. Even to me, kind of worse because she's like a zoner, but she also has like godlike space control and like up close game. It's like you just give her everything. She doesn't do the most damage, but it's like you barely can get on her. You can't get in on her. So it's like, yeah, I'm gonna do like 300 damage here and there, 250 here and there, but you can't touch me, so it doesn't matter. Um, I think the balance in MK overall is it's almost like a 50-50. It's like half of the cast, or like a predominant half of the cast, are like pretty up there, and they can do a lot of dumb stuff, and then like the other half of the cast is like, we can kind of compete. Then you got maybe got a handful that's like, I'm just over here in the stands. I'm just watching. I can't get out there and play with y'all. I'm just gonna watch. Um, like I said, I feel like MKX was different too because you had all the variations. So that was I feel like when you add something like that to a game, it already like skews the balance because it's like three versions of like 40, 30, 40 some characters, right? And even in MK11, you still got different move sets and stuff now. So that kind of like skews the balance a little bit. And I guess it skews it, but it also kind of does even it out some because there might be certain moves or move set that the character has is not that great. But then you might have a certain move set that are that's better overall versus the rest of the cast. So it just kind of depends on the matchup. But that's also one of the things that makes it hard because there's so many. Like let's say Jax is a character, let's say, or whatever, hypothetically, he might not do well against Cetrion with this one move set, but he picks another move set that does very well against Cetrion. But what if that Cetrion set you just pick the other one that does better? So it's just a back and forth. So I feel like that does kind of balance it out when you have those like all those different options where some bad characters can actually compete against other characters that are like top tier, but it's still like I think overall like some of the base characters their tool set like just base sets are still pretty strong. Like Cassie Cage, like for the most part, no matter what you choose with her, I think her move set she's pretty godlike for like most of the cast fighting against her. So it's like you can pick a different variation or whatever, different move set, but it's like she's still gonna be pretty hard to deal with at times. So I say to me the balance in MK is like it's around 50-50. It just depends. Like MK9 was different because you had certain characters that just ran the game. It was almost like there's no like Kenshi, like I said, Kenshi, Cabal, those were like two of the top, and they were just like you would watch them play against other people. Like, how do you don't even get to do anything? Cyrax will literally kill you from like just breathing on you, touch you once, you die. Like it was ridiculous. Johnny Cage with the pressure, like Sonya with the stance canceling. It was like some characters just could not compete. But again, like I said, I feel like it's kind of spread out, so it's about 50-50 for me, I'd say.
Coming up, I played Mortal Kombat fairly regularly, and most of the time, I think most of the game I mostly played was like Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat. I think I played Mortal Kombat 3 a little bit, but the ones that I played the most were like Deadly Alliance and stuff like that. And I kind of dropped off for a while, and then I came back to when like Mortal Kombat 9. And yeah, I gotta admit, like the characters in Mortal Kombat 9 did not feel balanced at all. And I think part of the reason it's easy to compare Mortal Kombat 9 to Mortal Kombat X is because, like Devin was saying, they have different variations in Mortal Kombat X where some characters, everybody basically has 3 different versions of every single character. So the variations kind of mix things up. So there's always a chance that you may or may not be able to counterpick somebody else's style. But in a game like Mortal MKX, and not MKX, but MK9, yeah, it was a little rough. I definitely remember Smoke being pretty good because I played Smoke, and there's some wacky things you could do with that character. And I was just a beginner. It's not even like I was particularly going in depth to what he could really do. I was doing some of the basic stuff like, you do a throw, there's a particular throw you could do, and then you could just immediately go into like his X-ray attack. And it was pretty much guaranteed. There wasn't, once you got hit by that throw, there's nothing you can do about it. You're going to get hit. In MKX though, I feel like the last 2 games have been a lot more balanced. But the thing about it is I guess that's because we have the different styles for the characters. So it mixes things up a little bit, which is actually really cool. Other than that, yeah, I would say overall, Mortal Kombat right now, I wouldn't say as a whole, like if we're talking about the whole series, then no. But recently, I would say the last couple games, I would definitely say the game is a lot more balanced than other games, especially in the MK series have been in the past.